Hi all, I'm Professor Tina Good, and this video is intended to help you learn how to participate in the discussions for our online class. Okay, our discussions are sort of replacing what we might do in a face-to-face situation. It allows us to connect with each other and interact with each other as we engage with the texts that I will be assigning in this class. The discussions are intended to be thoughtful and collegial, right? Of course, there will be those of us who disagree, and that's kind of the fun of talking about text is not only, sort of exploring our different responses to text, our different understandings of text, but using those conversations to develop complex understandings, how maybe there's not just one right answer, right? That when we bring ourselves to these texts, we can begin to explore, right, multiple understandings of literature and therefore human experiences, right? So while we're doing that, it's really important that we are civil and collegial and that we develop skills for discussing things that might be controversial and yet be respectful with each other. I will, of course, expect you to follow all the netiquette guidelines as provided by the college and the Student Code of Conduct. But this is a skill that I think is super, super important in this world of social media and internet engagement. If we are in the class, we might be more likely to be kind and respectful to each other, even as we are, developing more complex thoughts and perhaps disagreeing on controversial issues. But sometimes over, email or internet or whatever, we're less kind and we're less respectful, right? And so those skills need to be developed and honed, right? So that we can work on knowledge making rather than shutting down connections, becoming more defensive and shutting down knowledge building. Okay. Um, in the use of our discussions, of course, no use of generative AI may be used. No Googling of literary analysis, anything like that. It's a violation of course policy altogether. But again, this is a time for you to engage with the text, for you to develop those skills, for you to develop those appreciations, and for you to develop your own enjoyment of the text and interacting with each other. Grammar, listen, I'm not going to be checking for grammar in the way that I might on a formal essay, but I do expect that you go beyond a free write and it is organized and that it reflects college level writing. It should be reader friendly so that we don't have to work at figuring out what you mean, but discussing what you mean, right? Um, Let me give you a little bit of language. Um, in our discussion post, there'll be a primary post. That's the first post that you will submit. Nobody else has responded. It's the primary post. It's the beginning of a thread. And then there are responses. Those are your responses to a primary post in a particular thread, right? So every time you do a primary post, you will start what we call a thread. And then you know how threaded discussions works, and somebody will reply, 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 reply. You get that kind of thing. The idea is that everybody's post will get at least one response from a fellow student. I will not be responding to everybody, right? I will randomly choose who I'm going to be responding to prior to even reading them. So it's not a matter of, oh, I liked this one, I didn't like this one. It's nothing like that. I will choose who I'm responding to prior to responding. I may engage in a threaded discussion for sure, but just know that when I respond, that doesn't count as a post, all right? So if you go to somebody's post and you see that I have responded, you can still respond to that post, right? The idea is that putting me aside, everybody should get at least one response from a fellow student. Now, discussions are a place where we can build in a lot of extra credit as well, right? So the primary post has to be at least 200 words, but maybe yours goes longer than that, okay? And it's very thoughtful. Then you could get extra credit for that. Um, you may very well respond to somebody's post with your 100 words, but maybe you go beyond 100 words. You might get extra credit for that. Maybe you want to respond to more than one post, right? And participate in a threaded discussion. That's where we might get more extra credit. I want to incentivize that we talk to each other and we engage each other as we do, discuss these topics, right? So I want to give you as many points as I can for that kind of engagement. Now, if you meet the minimum requirements and you do what you need to do for the discussion post, you still can get full points, right? But if you go above and beyond, this is a place where you can get extra credit. Okay, so how do we engage in these discussions on Brightspace? Let me go ahead now and share my screen. This may not be your course, but my discussions are pretty much set up the same. All right, so the first thing that you're going to do here is you're going to obviously click on discussions, right? Now, the discussions will also have a link in the learning module in which they are assigned to. So you can click through the learning module as well. Now, the way Brightspace sets this up is first you have what they call the discussion forum, right? And then within the forum are several topics. Now, I'm not going to set it up that way. So for us, for the most part, the discussion forum and the discussion topic are going to be the same. So, this is just going to be a brief little how-to. And then in the topic, we'll bring the breakdown of what the assignment is. So click on the topic, and here you'll get the prompt, you'll get the due dates, everything like that, right? And so when you are going to do your primary post, you must start a new thread, right? So this is an icebreaker discussion, and this is where I just want us all to kind of get to know each other. So you click on start a new thread, right? You'll see mine is already up. And you might say, hi from John. Now, in later posts, your subject line might be a little bit more sophisticated, like you might talk about, Fortunato in Cask of Amontillado or something like that, right? So this is just a little indicator. Don't stress too much over the subject. Then over here, you'll come in and you'll say this, you'll put your primary post. This is the primary post, so it should be about 200 words minimum. And for the icebreaker, I've asked you to insert a picture, right? And so there's a couple of ways of doing that. First, you could come over here and click on insert image and then find the image on your computer where you've saved it. And then, simply like hit upload, find your picture, and then upload the picture there. Hit add, and then it'll be uploaded. Okay. Another way to do this is to come down here and go into upload, right? Again, find your picture on your computer, open it, upload it. This is another place where you could also even do a recording. If you wanted to speak to the class, you could do a recording here if you wanted to. If later on you want to, attach a link to something like a picture or PowerPoint or something like that, you can do the same thing here by going into attachments. Once you have done the entire post, be sure to hit post, right? So that your response is posted. Okay. Now, if you scroll down, you're going to see all the posts. So you see mine. So here's where you click. You can see so people are already starting to view my post, right? So you hit the subject, All right. And there's the post, right? Come down. And if you want to reply to this thread, by the way, you can always reply to my threads. I look forward to hearing it. It doesn't count for replying to a fellow student, but I would love to hear from you. Just simply hit reply to thread, right? And this is where you type your response. Remember, your responses to the threads should be about 100 words. And if you wanted to reply to more than one thread or participate in a threaded discussion, that would be great. It's a great source of conversation and more possible points for you. But just be sure that when you do your reply, you once again come down here and hit post. Okay, so I hope that that helps you understand how the discussions are going to be conducted in this class. If you have any questions, though, please feel free to email me. I don't want technology to get in the way of our successful discussions. I have reorganized the discussions a little bit differently this semester, so I'm hoping it all works out smoothly. But if we do break down into confusion, we'll get it straightened out. Okay? I think we're going to enjoy our discussions and getting to know each other as we discuss these interesting texts. All right, so I hope you found this video useful, and I look forward to your discussion posts. Have a great day.